Coincidence or no? The first week I started making these videos and speaking out about what's going on in this nation and the fact that I no longer choose to accept this and stay in silence and just go along with it. The first week I started doing that, I was sick. Coincidence or no? This past week, we started announcing that we are going to have a worship night at our house on election night. Turn off the news, sing it out to Jesus. He's got the whole world and our nation in his hands, and we're going to turn off all the news and all the racket, and we're going to sing to the one who wants to know that our nation still looks to him. We started announcing this the next day. I had a sinus infection come on faster. I've had a lot of sinus infections in my life. I had one come on faster than I ever remember. Felt perfectly fine, and within probably 2 or 3 hours, thought my head was going to explode. I can't remember that happening. It has held on all week. These things, when I get them, they don't hold on all week. Not to mention, for the last 2 years, I've barely been sick. I've been on a special diet. I don't really get sick anymore, hardly at all. Coincidence or no? Ann Wilson is a very popular Christian music singer. Before she'd released her first songs, she was writing songs, recording songs, trying to get her ready. This was when the whole world was shut down a few years ago. She had some extra time in there to do some more writing and recording. The day she recorded a song called My Jesus, they didn't know it at the time, but it was going to become her first single, and it was going to go #1 on the Christian music charts, which doesn't happen for new singers, and their first single that they released pretty much doesn't happen. But that was what was going to happen. The day she was recording that song, My Jesus, she didn't feel very well. Didn't feel well all day, but she powered through, made it happen, got the song recorded. As soon as she was done, she was extremely ill and had her mom rush her to the hospital. What they told her was that she had some kind of infection in her digestive tract, I believe, and that if they had not brought her right away, that she very possibly may have died. Coincidence or no? This nation that we live in was founded upon Christianity and truths of the Bible. Things like the way our government was organized. All people are created equal. We don't have a ruler. We get to rule ourselves. Ideas like law and order and justice, due process, jury by your peers, all these things. Okay, that's how we were founded. We have used the things over our nation's history to spread those ideas to many other areas of this world. Because it worked for us, it caught on. We have stood up for certain nations across the world that need help because we have had the ability to do that, okay? So that's who we have been as a nation. Is it a coincidence that believers, Christians in our midst today, less than half are probably going to vote? We're confused. We don't care. We don't like the candidates. There's all the reasons. There's all the reasons our churches are not providing any guidance to us. They're not leading us. They're not talking about it at all. Coincidence or no, that many are not even going to participate. This nation that has been a light shining to the rest of the world, clearly some forces are at work to destroy it. Okay, when we started, our laws, everything aligned with biblical principles. We don't have prayer in school anymore. We don't have the 10 Commandments in courtrooms. We have laws that murder people. We have laws that allow mutilation of people. We have all kinds of laws that now violate that. And we're looking around, wondering what's going on. Coincidence or no? Let's talk about those churches, friends. Our churches. Those that are supposed to provide, those that are supposed to shelter their shelter? I'm sorry, I can barely think with the sinus stuff going on. Shepherd the flocks, provide guidance, lead, build communities, stand against the ways of this world, stand against culture, learn and study the Word of God so that we can stand against evil in the ways of this world when they present themselves. So these organizations, these churches, many, the number I heard yesterday, I believe, is 80% will not speak about what's going on in our world and about the election. Will not speak. Keep in mind, when our nation started, pastors made a regular, they preached election sermons. They preached on all of this. Religion and the founding of our nation and participating in our government, it was all woven together. All woven together. There was no separation. The term separation of church and state, I don't think I've mentioned this in any of my videos. Where did that come from? It came from a letter Thomas Jefferson wrote to someone in personal correspondence. That's where that term came from, and it has been used against us ever since as if it was supposed to apply to our government. No, what was it supposed to apply to? Keeping government out of churches. That's what it was supposed to apply to, not keeping religion out of government. So our churches, they're not providing guidance. They're not commenting on issues that very clearly, if you have ever read the Bible, very clearly have to do with biblical principles. So for anyone who claims that it doesn't, for anyone who claims that we cannot mix politics and spirituality, for anyone who says, well, we can't take a stand because we'll lose our tax exempt status, we can't take a stand on politics. Well, clearly we have just bowed down to the culture around us in many cases. I want to give you some resources. Any of you watching along who are believers, or any of you watching along who are not, but you appreciate a system of governance based on our ideas, such as law, order, rules, boundaries, we're all created equal, we're innocent until we're proven guilty, okay? All these things that worked in our nation for so long. If you appreciate those things, I would love for you to listen along as well. I want to give you some resources. Because so many of our leaders are not providing guidance to us, I've just kind of immersed myself in all of these things, and I've been finding some really good resources. I'm going to give you some names of some people I am really enjoying listening to. Charlie Kirk, Allie Beth Stuckey, Wall Builders Show podcast, Eric Metaxas. There are many more. They have shows, podcasts, books, all kinds of stuff. Here are a few websites: christianvoterguide.com, myfaithvotes.com. There's a lot of stuff on that website. If you click on the big button that says think, there are loads of resources, videos, all kinds of stuff. But there's lots of stuff there. The Wall Builders website, I love this. I've told you. Here, I'm going to give you a few book recommendations. The one that got me all fired up to start with was If You Can Keep It, something about the promise of American liberty. But that one's by Eric Metaxas. The Founders Bible, the Wall Builders website that I'm talking about. This organization has dedicated themselves to archiving the history of our nation and the fact that all of them, almost all of them, maybe all of them, knew that we had to operate on morals and values and religion, biblical truth. Okay, so this Wall Builders organization, they have an archive of like loads of letters and documents from when our nation was founding, very much proving we are a Christian nation. I'm not sure which word to use here. We are a Christian nation. For anybody who's not Christian and like thinks that we're forcing that upon everyone else, well, clearly we don't do that. I mean, seriously. Does anybody make you go to church? Does anybody make you pray? Like, stop it. Stop being ridiculous. Okay. So, love this Wall Builders organization. They have all kinds of interesting things on their website. And I believe it's their founder. He was very integral. He might have been the author of this Founder's Bible. He didn't author the Bible, but they wrote all these articles that are intermixed throughout the scripture that talk about the founding of our nation and the deep faith in God that they had. So, coincidence or no? If we don't know about the idea of spiritual warfare, I've talked about it before. I have been a believer basically my whole life. Nobody ever told me about spiritual warfare. And honestly, I think this is one of the most practical things in everyday life to understand that if we're going to live as believers, if we're going to try and show light to this world and do good and share love amidst hate and division, what is going to happen? The enemy, the evil one, Satan, doesn't like that. There's a battle of good versus evil going on all around us. Like, I guess I sort of knew this in like very basic terms, but nobody had ever told me anything about the practical application of this in my life. That when I get married and my spouse is not being very nice, it is probably less my spouse and it's probably more the evil one trying to tear apart our marriage, because marriage and family reflects God's love to the world around us. The enemy hates anything that shows God's love to the world around us. The enemy is going to do everything possible to tear those things apart. Okay? Is it a coincidence that a week ago we started announcing this worship night? This sinus thing came on faster than one I can ever remember in my entire life. They do not ever, since I have been on the special diet for the last 2 years and I basically don't get sick anymore, I've had a couple of these. They're short. They last like a couple of days. We are on day 7. We're on day 7. This doesn't happen. Yesterday, I could not speak. I could not sing. I did go to church. Then I was wondering if I should not have. Couldn't speak. Couldn't sing. My voice seems to be coming back today. But tomorrow, what was I going to do tomorrow? I was going to sit at my place of voting with a sign that says "Pray for USA." That was my plan for most of the day. And then we're hosting this worship night tomorrow night. We're turning off the news. We're going to sing and look to our God. Does the enemy have a lot of reason to keep me from being able to talk and feel good and get ready for this thing tomorrow night? I guess, probably. You can call it a coincidence. There's a lot of things we can look at like, well, this seems unusual, but who knows? Could it be spiritual warfare? Oh, maybe, maybe not. But when you start learning about this in your life, like if it seems like you're being constantly attacked, especially in the face of like, maybe you're trying to step out and do something new, or maybe you're trying to do some good in this world, or maybe you're trying to heal a relationship, and you keep getting attacked, it just very much may not be a coincidence. Thanks for being here today, friends. Tomorrow's the big day. Let's prepare ourselves for what's going to happen, okay? There's going to be a lot of people voting. We know that. What's going to happen after? Are we going to know who our president is? My daughter keeps asking, when are we going to know who the president is? And I'm like, Your guess is as good as mine. I've got kind of a few scenarios in my mind of the way I think this could go. I make no predictions of how it will actually go, but we need to be prepared for uncertainty. We need to be prepared for one or both sides accusing the other side of interfering with the election. We need to be prepared. I'm wondering if it goes a particular way, right, are we going to respond by doing illegal things? Are we going to riot? Are we going to burn buildings down? And the way I'm referring to this is probably the exact opposite of what some of you are thinking. January 6th, I just want to say there was a whole lot more to that story. Go listen to the conservative news and see what the story was. There were a lot of things they had on camera, on video. Like, the guards are just like holding the doors open. Just holding the doors open. Like there's a lot. There's a lot to it that most people do not know. It seems as if it was encouraged by people in our law enforcement and things. I don't even know. But I'm thinking to several years back, some lawlessness, some violence, fires, looting businesses, all kinds of things, and people not getting in trouble. I'm thinking of that side. If it doesn't go the way they want it to, how much destruction is going to happen across our nation. So what are we going to do, friends? We're going to participate. We're going to vote. If we're confused, we're going to pray until we get an answer, because he put us in a nation where we get to participate. There is a war of good versus evil going on, playing out in front of our eyes. It is our responsibility to participate. So we're going to participate if we haven't already. We are going to pray. We're going to pray as much time as you can devote tomorrow, tonight, tomorrow, in the days coming ahead when we very well may not know who our president is. We're going to keep praying and we're going to keep worshiping. Turn on those songs and sing it out. Tomorrow evening, if you live in our area, you are welcome. Send me a message for the details to come sing it out with us. If you're not here, I do have a link you can join in online if you want that. Send me some messages. I would appreciate some prayers that I can speak and sing tomorrow. Blessings, blessings. God's got it all in his hands.